Yo, what's good? Today we're going to be going through my top 50 albums of 2022. Just to keep this a bit quick, I'm going to show you my bottom 25, the 50th to the 25th best or 26th best albums. Right now, they should be going across your screen. Some great records here. A lot of them valid are really good to check out. But now let's get into number 25, Sudan Archives with Natural Brown Prom Queen. It's a really smooth listen. It's fun and full of energy. To explain, it's an R&B album for the most part, and it's just really sort of sensual. And there are quite a few redundant moments, and the production is a lot flashier than the vocal performance. But it is very well written, to be fair to it. Next, at 24, we have Jody Badass with 2000. This album has incredibly high highs, like Song of the Year level highs, and some of Joey's worst songs as well, but it averages out to a pretty great listen, in my opinion. Head High, Zip Codes, and especially Survivor's Guilt are some of my favorite tracks of the years. There's tracks like the one with Chris Brown, which is just really bad. But this is one of his best produced albums and one of the best produced of the year. Just this brilliant jazz rap soundscape. And Joey just continues to carry the record with his great penmanship. Next, at 23, we have Kenny Beats Louie. I've never listened to Kenny Beats albums before. This one, and this is a instrumental concept album, which I was not anticipating liking as much as I did, and it's just really comforting soul chops, instrumental hip hop, like I said, really well done. I mean, Kenny's one of the best producers in the game, and it came together extremely cohesively for a instrumental record, which is surprising. Next, The Weeknd with Don FM. This is another great concept record. Just continues delving into that 80s sound that he started on After Hours. I believe this is supposed to be the second installment of a trilogy. And The Weeknd just really just continuing his creative streak. Great album. Next, at 21, we have Pusha T's It's Almost Dry. I wanted to put this higher, and Pusha T continues to be one of the best lyricists in the game. It's a really well-produced record with Kanye and the Pharrell beats sort of interspersed. I feel like those clashing soundscapes do make it less cohesive than, say, Daytona was when he locked in with just Kanye. But it's just a fantastic record. There are some weaker songs I was comparing this heavily to Daytona, to be honest, but this is a really great album from the Joker of hip-hop. At number 20, I'm not sure about this one yet, because it's only been out for like a week or two, but Absol's Herbert is going to come in at number 20. TDE had a great year, and this one capped it off. Absol just shines, and he's one of the best lyricists in the game. He continues that, and the soundscapes are just fantastic on this. Hollandaise is this like upbeat summery type track, and it's followed right by Moon Shooter, which is this dark and eerie, almost creepy soundscape. And I like the fact that from the singles he evolved them and added extra verses to switch it up and sort of subvert my expectations, which I really liked. Next, another rap album, Red Veil's Learn to Swim. The 18-year-old producer and rapper dropped this album earlier this year, and it just showcases a fantastic jazzy soundscape as he talks about growing up and finding himself as a young person. And it's a really well-done album. I really especially love the production. The bars can vary from track to track, though it is mostly solid. Some of the vocal performances aren't fantastic, but overall just extremely impressive, and really looking forward to what he has to do next. Next, Saba with Few Good Things. This is another album which sort of teeters between incredible highs and sort of mediocre lows. I believe this is also the last installment of a trilogy. And I gotta say, the closing track on Few Good Things is just incredible. The album concept about treasuring the few good things we have in life is great, and the bouncy and fun tracks are probably my favorite as well. Next, we have Metro Boomin with Heroes and Villains. Metro dropped his first solo project in years, and his curation skills have only grown better, and his productions have only gotten better as well. And this is just fantastic dark trap, and it just showcases, every good rapper out of Atlanta, and overall just a fantastic record in that. Also, one of the best rollouts of the year. That trailer was sick. Number 16, a record I really didn't expect to like as much as I did, Carly Rae Jepsen's The Loneliest Time. Carly returned after, it was only 2 years actually, with a 13-track record containing some of the most catchy pop music of the year, probably the most catchy pop music of the year, as she always does, to be fair. The soundscape is more varied than what she usually does, taking from multiple decades, and it forms a really fun and catchy. Well, I keep saying that, but it's true. A really fun listen in the end, I'd say. Number 15, another extremely late inclusion into this list. Little Sims with No Thank You. This came out once again, like Absol's, just about 2 weeks ago. This was a fantastic album, fantastic follow-up to Simbi from last year, which was my album of the year from last year. Gorilla is a track I need to mention. It's explosive, it's beautiful at points, and it's, it goes into this like sort of rhythm section. I just love it. Broken is hypnotizing as she goes on for rapping straight for 7 minutes about the broken, the state of the black community and how generational trauma breaks up the people and how that causes physical health issues and stuff. And it was just an incredible record. Inflow continued to be one of the best producers in the game. A fantastic LP, but it does run a little bit derivative of Simbi, but I mean, Simbi's a 10 out of 10, so. Next, at 14, we got another follow-up to a high record from last year, Nas with King Disease 3. This may be his best record in this new series with Hit Boy. Hit Boy is more creative than ever. It feels like it's only increasing, even though they have so much collaboration under their belt. It only gets better from here. It doesn't get stale. And it's consistently smart and sharp lyrically. And some of the most creative beats Nas has ever written land on this record. And there's not much more to say about Nas. He's gotten his flowers, and he is the GOAT. At 13, I have Black Thought, Danger Mouse with Cheat Codes, another producer-rapper duo. As the two legends combine for a lyrical feast. I mean, it's Black Thought, that's what you expect. The backdrop is a little bit more melancholy and string-heavy than, say, you'd get with a Roots record. But the strong features and its song-for-song concepts just locking in make it one of his best solo works to date. Now, number 12, Silvana Estrada with Marchita. This is one of the most beautiful records I've ever heard, as I started getting into the folk and chamber scene this year. It's sparse and uses that to communicate emotion very well. The instrumentation, when it enters, complements her vocals very well, and it is just a fantastic and really heartfelt record. Number 11, I kind of did want to put this in the top 10, but we'll get there. Lupe Fiasco's Drill Music in Zion. In terms of concept records, this is up there as one of the best of the year. Lupe sounds fantastic over these heavy jazz instrumentals, even the raw sax riffs, as he just spits about the value of people in poverty and how self-perpetuating the cycle is. Miss Mural is a track I want to highlight. That is one of the absolute best tracks of the year. Now, we're getting into the top 10. Let's get ready, get hyped. Conway The Machine with God Don't Make Mistakes. This is another great concept record, but it's the raw emotion and openness with which Conway raps, which makes it so great. He spills his heart and some more on tracks like Stressed, Wild Chapters, and the outro, God Don't Make Mistakes. Despite being a Griselda record, they're catchy and hooky tracks like Wild Times and Stress as well, and every feature pulls their weight. The gritty, eerie, and dark soundscape just feels like I'm in a winter in Buffalo, and it's just cold and bleak and desolate. I mean, this is just a gut-wrenching album. Number 9, a little bit more wholesome and warm, we have Big Thief's Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You. It is one of the best folk albums of the year. Adrian Lenker dives into topics on every track, sort of locks in, and it just renews some sort of like wonder inside me. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it, and just sort of scratches an itch. There's not a low or boring moment throughout the hour and a half of music, and it's just a great experience that everyone should have, I think. Number 8, another album that just scratches an itch, is Wise Blood's And in the Darkness, Hearts Aglow. She followed up her 2019 masterpiece, Titanic Rising, with an equally strong album. Hearts Aglow is wondrous and it's open, and it really explores its instrumentals. You know, all the tracks are, 4, 5, 6 minutes long. Everything is catchy, and it has some of my favorite tracks of the year, such as Children of the Empire, Hearts Aglow, Twin Flame, The Worst Is Done, just to name a few. And this is pretty much peak indie pop this year. Just a fantastic record. Next we have a record that slipped down my rankings quite a bit. Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Kendrick's comeback was one of the best moments of the year, and my most hyped album coming into this year. And it's a fantastic exploration of generational trauma, his position in the industry, and how his upbringing affects him and how he raises his children. I do have my critiques of his melodic performances and a couple tracks which drag, but it is still one of the best rap albums of the year, and like I said, my most hyped drop for sure. I gotta say, I went to the concert for this record, and it was incredible. Just if you ever get to experience Kendrick live, take that opportunity, please. Next, we have Natalia Lafourcade with De Todas las Flores. Another fantastic Latin record here, and the use of varied instrumentation from jazz to orchestral to piano is great, and it's always the foil to her angelic yet seemingly genuine delivery. Like, it's not too squeaky clean, or it just feels, I don't know exactly how to describe it. It just feels genuine. Even if I had to read line by line on Genius to properly judge this album, and I may hold back my opinion on the record a bit because of the language barrier, it is still one of the best sounding albums of the year and one of my favorites. Now, top 5 time. At number 5, I have Black Country New Road's Ants from Up There. Black Country New Road is one of the best music acts out the UK right now, and they grew massively from For the First Time. This is more creative, more ambitious, both lyrically and instrumentally, I'd say. The mix of jazz and guitar created this forlorn and longing feeling, along with Wood's rough and pleading vocals leads to a pretty emotional experience. The progression of every track is fantastic, and they go long, reaching upwards of 10 minutes on a couple tracks. And this is pretty much as close to perfect as you'll get for a rock album in 2022, though you might see in a minute. Next, Quedeca's I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. Another late entry into this list, or not, we've had it around for a month at least. This guy, he released a great album last year, a former YouTube rapper, and he just turned around and dropped probably the most creative concept for an album I've seen maybe ever, like since To Pimp a Butterfly. Following a ghost a ghost of someone who's committed suicide and is trying to live and find himself in this sort of void. It's just an incredible, almost spiritual experience. He mixes his glitch hop with some folk and electronic, and his airy singing, and you have some incredibly emotional moments, and a single wasted note, which is incredible improvement and some of the best artistic growth we've seen this decade. Now, top three. At 3, we have Denzel Curry's Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. Denzel leveled up here, moving on from his hardcore roots on a record like Zoo towards a more soulful vibe with his own creative twist. The combinations of melodic rap and soul across the record, along with his witty, funny, yet poignant bars, create my personal favorite hip-hop record of the year, and it is on my Spotify Wrapped, it was like my highest album of the year, and like half the tracks in my top 5 were from this record. The features are well done, the concept is pretty tight. There are a couple tracks which are lower than the rest, but it's very minimal. This is one of the best hip hop albums of the decade so far. Then in number 2 we have another hip hop album, one of the best of the decade, Jid with The Forever Story. This is extremely creative as Jid leveled the fuck up from DiCaprio 2, and it feels legacy defining. And this album is just consistently mind-blowing and rapturing, and is extremely personal. I think Sean C. described it very well when he said, "It takes us through everyone who made Jid who he is, and he introduces us to them track by track." The production ranges from hard on the first few tracks toward a more soul and jazz route through the middle, with some of the year's best, like Surround Sound and Cody Blue 31. Features like Kenny Mason, 21 Savage, Lil Durk, Mos Def, and Lil Wayne all delivered to boot. And this, maybe a bit early to say, but it's probably the second best rap album of the decade. Just an incredible listen. Now, finally, let me get it up. Our number 1 best album of 2022. It's gonna be Black Midi with Hellfire. Like I said before, if any rock record could match the Black Country New Road one, it is this one, by sort of their friendly rivals, Black Midi. This is the record that blew my mind the most on first listen, and it hasn't grown old over dozens of listens. The technical performances are incredible, such as the riffs on Sugar Zoo and The Race Is About to Begin. Lyrically, each song has extremely specific fantastical scenarios, from the cosmic boxing match on Sugar Zoo to the debauchery on Eat Man Eat and the murder plot of Dangerous Liaisons, all tying back into the concept of hell and capped off by one of the best tracks of this year. Overall, just absolutely loved everything about this record, and it's pretty much perfect. Like it's probably a 10 on 10. There's literally nothing about this record that isn't near perfect for me, and that is why it's my album of the year. Thank you for watching. I do recommend you guys give most of these albums a listen if you haven't already. All of these albums I've listed are incredible, and shout out to the artists, and thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next year.